Hey guys, welcome back to the program. What's next? Today we've got Mr. Christopher Wing with us. And I don't know a whole lot about Mr. Chris. We've talked a lot about, old stories and fun stuff, but I really haven't got too far into your background. Where'd you grow up, Chris?
Oh, I grew up in Vermont.
Vermont?
Yeah, Rutland,
Vermont.
Vermont.
Long way from California, huh?
Sure is. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, very nice place to be from. And to go back to.
I don't know much about Vermont.
It's the 14th state.
It's the 14th state,
It's the 14th state. It formed an independent nation because it was fighting it got carved out of two other colonies out of New Hampshire and New York.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you've heard of Ethan Allen.
Sure.
Well, Ethan Allen is the founder of Vermont.
Oh, no kidding.
And he fought everybody. He fought New Hampshire guys. He fought the New York guys. He fought the British, and he threatened to fight the Americans. And so they came to agreement because he actually got captured during the Revolutionary War and was prisoner of war, taken over to England. And so they had some respect for him.
Sure.
He was over there for a while, and then
He's a brawler.
he was a brawler. Yeah, he was a big guy, a little bigger than you probably.
Yeah, probably.
But, back in the day. Anyway, he came back. He started the state. And so it's,
What, they hauled him back to England? What they do that for?
Well, because
Treason
he was a general. So
Yeah.
he was a highfalutin guy-ish.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't treat him very well. They put him in a galley and chains and all that and took him across. But he was well-spoken, charming guy. He wrote a book about religion.
Oh, okay.
And he was damned for it by all the religious leaders in America.
Right.
And so he was kind of a famous guy. And came back and they made a deal, and it became the 14th state because Washington didn't want another war.
Right.
And first state to ban slavery of any kind. And, they've kind of been on the cusp of pretty liberal. Bernie's from Vermont.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's right there, huh?
Yeah. Although for 100
you.
years after the Civil War, it was Republican all the way. But for today's thinking, they were very progressive Republicans, I guess. Well, the whole Republican Party was more...
It's kind of changed a little bit over the years.
Yeah, it's gone a little bit more to the right than it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And because Vermont was... Anyway, so it's so small, it exerts a lot of influence because there's, there's 600,000 people and they got 2 senators. And kind of like most places, once they get elected, they're there forever.
Sure.
So they end up, getting power and getting what they want to get done.
Yeah. Right.
So the state itself is very beautiful.
Yeah.
It's...
you get the fall, you get the colors, you get the winters, you get the snow and all that.
Yeah, it's 4 seasons.
Yeah.
4 seasons, a lot of water, a lot of mountains. So the name Vermont is comes from the French for green mountains.
Oh, is that right? You're that close to the mountains.
Well, there's a mountain range right down the center of the state.
Oh, beautiful.
And in fact, back in the old days, they used to, Vermont's very small. So I know I mentioned that, but I mean, it's maybe 40, 50 miles across. And
beautiful.
A couple 100 miles long.
Yeah.
So
what a great place to grow up.
It was a wonderful place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old were you when you got out of there? What did you go off to college? And
no, I went to college in Vermont.
You went there? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. After a couple of years, I quit and took a leave of absence for a year.
Yeah, right.
And I went to Jackson Hole and was a ski bum. And then I went back after a year working for a living. I figured I needed a degree. So
sure.
I went back and got one at the university there. And then as soon as I was done, I got a job picking apples with the Jamaicans in the orchards of Vermont. And then I got a job as a night janitor at a ski area in Vermont. Skied during the day. And
you could pick up your ski bumming again.
And then I came west.
So Jackson Hole you said you went out to. Is that what you said? You
I
went
sure
out there
did.
For what, a year or so? Or?
Yeah, just a solid year. It was wonderful.
Must have been, 20-something? Oh.
I was 20. Yeah, I turned 21 in Jackson Hole.
What a blast.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Then you went back, picked some apples.
Yep.
That's
Picked some apples.
Yeah. That's a big crop. Where are you from? Where I'm from, anyways.
Oh, it is. It's
huge.
it is. It's a big deal, and that's what I was in high school. We'd go out on the weekends and pick apples, and
Right.
then
They bring the Jamaicans in to do that.
they do. There's not enough
Okay.
local labor, so
Sure.
they and those guys. I mean, they're good at it.
Yeah. Right.
So they kept me on as long as there's different varieties of apples, and the biggest
Tons.
crop down back there is McIntosh,
Okay.
and then they have, geez, I can't remember the name of them anymore, but
Oh, there's just so many.
yeah, in this orchard maybe they just had 2 or 3,
Okay. Yeah.
but this other kind they're hard to pick, and I just couldn't. You had a quota, you had to meet your
That's
quota,
it,
and I
right.
couldn't make
Yeah,
the quota
right.
anymore. So they ditched me, and I got a job in a hardware store, and worked there until ski season started.
Right.
And
That was just a filler till the skis got back on.
yeah, I had a great time doing
Heck
that.
yeah.
But yeah, and then I came west and
Yeah.
went to Colorado and stayed there for 45 years.
Did
Yeah.
you end up there? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What were you doing there?
Well, I was a ski bum. I started. I
Starting
was
to see
a cook.
a trend here, Chris.
Yeah, I started cooking, and I cooked for a while, and then I was a waiter, and then I worked in for the town, a small town of Durango. They had a kind of a big resort. It's called Tamaron back in the day, and I think at its peak they maybe had about 500 employees. So the town only had 20,000 people, or actually 15. So it was
Wow.
a small place.
Ritzy joint, huh?
This was, yeah, and had a phenomenal kitchen. Nothing else like it for hundreds. You'd have to go 5 hours away to get to
No kidding.
something like this. And
So
I really lucked out because the chefs were guys that had worked all over the world. They're Swiss and Austrian and all that kind of stuff. And so I got a great training. And after a couple of years, I became the head dishwasher. And I had 20 guys working for me there, and then I was moonlighting as a waiter down at the Vermont Inn, and so I finally became the banquet manager, where I had 30, 40 waiters working for me, and
So
then
you've mastered that menu by then.
I mastered that job, yeah, and then they fired me.
Oh,
And so I got a job.
that's a lot of knowledge to fire. You must have really dropped the ball, my friend.
No, you know what? As you look back on things, I got fired from every job I ever had. So I don't. I realized I needed to work for myself.
Right, exactly.
And, I hardly ever fired anybody. I mean, you really had to do something to get me to fire you.
For sure, right. Yeah,
Other than I had a rule. You've had employees, so
sure.
I just had one rule. My rule was be here on time.
Yeah,
If you didn't show up, you were gone.
right.
You could call me, but if you didn't call me, and if I
Sure.
didn't know ahead of time,
Yeah,
you were gone, because they're going to do it again.
yeah.
And we were very tight, and always paid everybody really well. And so, part of that was you got to show up. So I was really reluctant, fire anybody for anything else. We always worked through it.
Right. Move them somewhere else.
Well, yeah.
That's probably the main reason why I've lost most of the jobs in my life from being late. I'm always.
Is that right?
It's like you're.
Yeah.
Oh, it's it's so. It always used to amaze me. I work so hard. I work for so many hours. Through the blistering below zero cold outside.
Oh, yeah.
And I make sure everything's done right. And but boy, they just derail me when I'm 10 minutes late. It's like, guys, I got a family,
Yeah,
or whatever,
yeah.
or it's like,
Yeah,
give
I
me a
know.
little bit of, I'll be here until 10 o'clock at night if you want me
Yeah.
to be, but just give me a little slack. But no, that's always the rule. Bang.
Yeah.
You're here on time or
Well-
you're done.
Well,
You're written up. Or,
yeah, the way I looked at it is, we're a team,
right.
and everybody depends on each other. And
Right.
if you're not there, you're the kind of the missing link, and
Exactly.
we can't get it going. But in the end, I owned a little ski lodge, and I had a guy that worked for me, 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
And, he started off getting there whenever I told him.
Sure.
And then eventually he was just like showed up, like an hour late every day. He wouldn't get there till after 9, but he knew so much, and he really wasn't dependent. The rest of us weren't really dependent on him, because by that time he was pretty independent. And so I just gave up, like, I don't care, come when you want, just get your job done.
Right.
But in the restaurant, it was a whole different deal because
it's a different thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that being said, once you become the boss and people are being late all the time, it's all of a sudden like now you're wasting people's time, dude.
Well, it's a sign of respect.
You don't really notice it so much until you're the boss man.
Yeah, right.
So, it is respect. You're right. Exactly.
It's a sign of respect. Yeah. I mean, I had a gal I know, and you got the same thing, but you're right. It sounds like you're the late guy.
Yeah, always.
And it's kind of charming a little bit. You don't mind waiting yourself, but you're going somewhere and other people are waiting on you, and they're putting you in that category. I'm like, what the hell are you doing what are you doing? They're there drinking all the wine. It's gonna be gone.
Right. Priorities now.
Yeah. So, other than that, I don't know. I think some people would say I was a total asshole, and other people would say I was easy. So
just depends on who you ask, right?
Well, it depends on them and me. It depends on the situation, I think.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So
you were taking care of the banquets.
I did that for about a year, and that's when they canned me. And then I think I went to Dallas for a year. And, I'd never lived in a big city.
Sure.
And I had a buddy that lived there, and so I crashed on his couch for a while.
Righteous.
And it was really nice. And turned out I had 2 or 3 friends that had worked at this same bigger resort in Durango that were working in Dallas, and they had it wired. They had it down, and so I had a great time. I was there for a year, and made, relatively speaking, a lot of money, as a waiter.
Sure.
And then couldn't take the traffic anymore, so I went back to Durango.
Yeah, I as soon as I got out of high school, I guess it was probably junior year, I got my driver's license and I headed to Dallas. I lived there for about a year and a half, just outside.
No kidding.
A little town called Mesquite.
I'm sure. I don't know where the hell I was. I was on Beltline. Yeah. I know where Mesquite is.
690, what was it, 695 or whatever the Beltway was that went all around.
Yeah, and LBJ,
massive,
right. Yeah, probably about the same era, in the 80s.
I probably hit there in 1983, 84 somewhere.
About the same time.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away. I mean, the traffic was just terrible.
It was terrible, right?
But
the people were just
phenomenal.
Amazing.
Yeah, they were. Man, everybody was so nice,
I love being there.
I still have friends from there, and
I do too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They don't live there anymore, but I knew them then.
Yeah,
there.
Yeah, and kind of cosmopolitan. I mean, compared to where
Sure.
Vermont, there's 3 blacks in Vermont. I mean, now it's probably different, but when I was a kid, and there was absolutely no Hispanics at all. I mean, I didn't know I worked with this guy when I got to Durango. I think I told you this. That was he was a cook, and I was working next to him, and he was teaching me. I had no idea how to cook. And, a little more of a darker complexion.
Yeah.
I thought he was like 45. Well, he was my age. He was just Hispanic. I didn't know that for 6 months.
Really?
I just had no conception,
races.
Yeah, we just didn't have race.
Bread.
We didn't have it. So it was kind of an eye-opener because Durango, like California, Colorado, was first explored by the Spanish. There was an expedition that came up right through Durango.
Where's Durango? Is that?
It's in the southwest corner of Colorado.
Oh, it's in Colorado. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know you probably don't know where Mesa Verde National Park is, but that's there.
I've heard of it, but I don't know.
Yeah, and the stuff that's there is they named a car after the place. It tested good,
right?
With the public, but it's in the southwest corner of the state. It's a phenomenal place. In the county, it's called La Plata County, and there are 4 geez, I don't know what you call them, but vegetative zones. It goes from desert all the way to subalpine. Because the altitude is from maybe 3,000 to 14,000 feet variety. So
right.
It's a pretty great place to live.
Everything in between.
Yeah.
Wow, how cool is that?
Yeah, well, I loved it.
Yeah. So how long did you live in Colorado at that time, Colorado?
Well, I was there about 44, 45 years.
Oh, I see. Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put some time in there.
Yeah. Really a nice place.
You're right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Small. And so you stayed in the Midwest, right?
I grew up, I was born in New Jersey.
You were.
Moved to Chicago and Grand Rapids, Michigan, and shifted around, and then I took off for Texas, and then.
You've been moving. I thought you were a Hollander. I thought you were just from Michigan all the way.
Right. The whole family, everybody's from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yeah.
So my dad I think was on a sales mission or something in New Jersey. When I was born.
Yeah.
But Grand Rapids is the home.
Gotcha.
All the grandparents, great grandparents.
Nice. Well, it's nice to have that.
Right. The roots.
Yeah.
Right.
Roots are cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's a restless nation.
Yeah. There are 5 grandsons in Grand Rapids now.
Is that right?
So yeah.
How often do you get back there?
Keep on going. As soon as I can, as often as I can.
Yeah. Once a year, twice a year.
Try to get a couple times a year if I can.
Yeah.
Unless there's something else I got to make it in for. Last year, my youngest daughter got married, so I do that. And
do your kids ever come out here? Anybody comes out here?
Well, they're still in their 20s. It's a little bit hard,
I couldn't get anybody to come to
business
Durango.
and families.
Yeah,
it's hard for them to get away. Easier for me to travel as
a single,
as an older
single
guy.
unit.
Yeah,
than everybody.
Exactly. As much as I'd love to get them out here, I keep telling my older son, God, I'd love to get you out here and go whale watching or something. He's just never been out of Michigan too much, but he's just got a new business, he's got a new family, new house, and it's hard to get away. Maybe 10 years they can get away.
Maybe they get in the habit of staying still. I mean, it's a good life.
It sure is.
There's no reason that you have to travel.
Right.
I remember reading, I don't know who, some American poet, I know it was a Whitman, or there's another guy back then, Emerson, I think, and he said, travel is a fool's paradise.
Was it?
And I thought about that. I think that's right. You can have a perfectly happy life in one spot without moving around too much.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard to do in this society.
Some people are just wired that way. They just want to see the other side of the fence. But
I do. I mean, I feel like we have the world is our oyster. I mean, we should be going everywhere if you can do it. And
might as well go check it out.
It's nice to see a lot of kids are doing it now. They're
traveling.
They're not quite as intimidated. Of course, the internet makes it a lot easier for them to know what to do than we did. It was pretty exotic.
Here's your map. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So how'd you get to California from there? You grew some roots in Colorado.
Yep, I did. I had a couple of friends that moved out here, and I came to visit them, and I just love the taste of the air out here.
Yeah, right.
Where Durango is where I lived at 9,000 feet, and so really high.
Wow.
And the air's thinner, but it's some of the
oxygen up there?
Yeah, not much. Really, that's why I needed to come down where there's a little more oxygen.
Mm-hmm.
I like the moisture in the air. Durango's very dry, and I like that too because Durango's very clean. It's one of the cleanest, in the U.S. as far as air in the neighborhood I was living in, and I had come out here before. I came out to Huntington Beach with one of my coworkers, and geez, it was so air was so filthy down there. I just got sick right away, and so I was like, I'm never coming here. But then I had a buddy move to Boulder Creek. Do you know where that is? It's up by Santa Cruz somewhere.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Between Santa Cruz and San Jose in the mountains, and the air there's pretty good. And I was like, I could do that, and it turned out I sold my business, and I wanted to come out here, and another buddy had a place in the Carmel Valley, and he said I could stay there for a while. So I did, and then I got a place of my own here.
Man, that's a beautiful spot.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty nice. I like the ocean though. I like walking on the beach and all that.
Yeah.
So
I got a buddy that's got a place up in the mountains just north of Santa Cruz up there, and it's beautiful up there. It's crazy windy roads trying to switch back, getting up in there. But,
it is, yeah.
It's beautiful once you get
fast
up there.
drivers, man. I mean, I was really impressed.
Slower
I walked to town once from my buddy's house, maybe a mile or two, and really no shoulders, just really tight. And I heard these BMWs come whipping around the corner, and impressive, really impressive.
Drifting around the corners.
Yeah, good drivers here.
Yeah.
And I noticed that this trip too. I mean, people have been very polite.
Really?
And yeah, I mean,
well, that's good to hear.
it is. It's. I mean, at least in this neighborhood, they are. I mean, you have more experience than me, so it may be different. But here, I've been amazed how nice people are. On the roads.
Yeah, it's that little stretch between Monterey and Marina. Man, look out.
Is that right?
Yeah, because guys will come up going 120 miles an hour behind you.
Yeah, on Highway 1 there.
Yeah.
That's
dangerous. There's always something in the road.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous little stretch there. Keep your eyes peeled.
It's narrow and a lot of exits, and it is intense.
Right.
For sure. But it's a phenomenal road. I mean, how it just cuts right through from the Big Sur.
Sure is. Yeah.
Up to Marina. You know.
It's in good shape too.
It is.
Compared to the roads north of that.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Once you get into Moss Landing and running up that way towards Santa Cruz, it was a little bit rougher up there.
No,
but there's a lot of farm traffic up there too, so they tear up the roads.
Oh, sure.
So what you do for a living mostly?
Well, I
retired now, or you're not retired yet?
I'm retired. I'm retired. Yeah. And mostly I owned a little ski lodge that had a restaurant. So I started with the restaurant, and then somebody bought the building we were in. So I bought another building, basically for the restaurant to go, and I ended up getting into the hotel business and property management business because it had 40 condos attached to it. And
oh, wow. That's a lot.
These guys had asked me to manage the association, and then I managed the rentals, and it was it took a lot of time. It took a lot of effort. You probably could have done 4 times as much with the same amount of effort.
Yeah.
But that scenario didn't exist there, which I'm grateful for. It was a small place in the woods and quite beautiful.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
There's a pride in that.
Well, it's just I was just lucky to end up there. I mean, the elk migrated through the property. The turkeys migrated through the property. You could hear, like here, I mean, the beach is phenomenal here for all the seabirds and, all the hunting that the animals do of each other.
Yeah.
And but there, there were a lot of, it was kind of the same thing, only you were in the woods. You weren't surrounded by an urban area. So I was, and the weather was great. It's very sunny in that part of the state.
Oh, is it? Yeah. While you're out.
Yeah. So I was just, I just loved it. Everything about it was, like I say, was crazy. I was riding my bike, I think this was yesterday, I don't know, over on the bike path, and I don't know if you can see, it's showing.
That's a black-tailed deer. Yeah.
Look at that, right? I mean, it's right on the road.
Right.
Can you see the fawns?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I don't know. I mean, it's
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. I mean, these were just hatched.
They're just pets out here. You would never get that close to a Michigan deer.
Well, in Durango, in the city of Durango, there's a bunch, and in the woods, you kind of can if there's not a lot of people. Probably Michigan is like Vermont, where there's a country road.
Yeah.
Cutting things up all over the place, but in Colorado, there are very few where I lived. There are very few roads, and they really weren't used to that many people.
Yeah.
nobody could see this thing. This is what was phenomenal about this, was she was right on the side of the road up against the house, but nobody even noticed it.
Huh.
You know, I was
You're just
riding.
so used to it.
I was riding my. Well, I just don't think. I think they would have stopped. A lot of them tourists. They would have stopped and
Really?
taken pictures, but they just were looking straight
don't see
ahead. You know, and I thought that was kind of cool. So, anyway, that's the first deer I've seen out here.
Yeah, I used to have a little shop up in Pacific Grove, and sometimes I'd open up the back door and there'd be 3 or 4 deer just laying there in the grass, one with a fawn. It's like, this is amazing. That
Yeah.
You know, maybe a whitetail is different than a blacktail, you know, but they just seem to not. I mean, if I walked towards them, obviously they'd start
they
walking
would go
away.
Yeah.
But they didn't look too scared. Just just keep their distance.
Yeah, but you know, a doe with 2 fawns, you know, like Bambi right there.
Right.
It was crazy. So anyway,
Beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
So
You can be walking along the trail and you can see whale spouts. You know,
just I had
it's
a
an amazing place to live.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So I've been blessed, but of course I guess you choose
Yeah.
where you want to go.
Right.
Right. How
Been
did you
enough
end
places.
up here? I mean, in this particular place.
Well, you know, I didn't know much about California, other than I just wanted to get away from the snow, and so I just came across with my U-Haul and I hit about Ventura. I didn't think I wanted to be any farther south than that, and I just started driving north. Said if I stumble across a little town that I like, then I'll stop in and get an apartment. And I came across a little town called Marina. You know, being a sailor, it's like, sounds a good place.
Yeah.
Little did I know Marina doesn't have a marina. But,
Right.
Oh, well. So, yeah, I just pulled in, got an apartment here, and, yeah. Well, it was it's probably, maybe 10 minutes north of here, and then kind of migrated back to Monterey. It's a little more population here for a business, you know.
Oh, sure.
So you need a little more population.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, the whole area is kind of one population, but
yeah.
I suppose for what you do, it's good to be around.
Yeah, right.
You know.
Marina's a little too far out for people.
Yeah.
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 So, yeah, and I drove by this place quite a few times while it had the for rent sign up, and I thought, no way could I afford that. I just assumed it's just going to be through the roof. And the sign went down, and I was like, oh, doggone it, there's my chance. And then a couple weeks later, the sign went back up, and I thought, well, I owe it to myself to at least check in.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it was way lower than what I thought. That's what you get for assuming, man. I'll tell you what.
I've come across a couple of those signs. You know, this morning I rode my bike out to Lover's Point there, and on the way back we came, you know, on the bike path, which you would think would be a pretty popular place for business with, you know, for rent signs.
Yeah, right.
And I was thinking, I don't know how anybody could afford to have a business right there, because how, you know,
you'd have to just make some serious turnover.
Yeah, and you know, you're going to have to give a lot of money to the landlord.
Right.
But I have no idea what the rent was, so maybe, you know, it's okay.
Exactly. You just assume, you know, it's got to be through the roof. It literally is on Monterey Beach. Yeah, I look out my door and I can see the beach. I can see the sailboats. I can see, you know, everything right there. It's just an amazing little spot right here.
Yeah.
It really is.
It is. Yeah, you lucked out. You did good. Yeah. I've had the same luck with my business.
Have you?
Yeah. Did I ever show you a picture of? I know nobody can see it, but I'm gonna show you.
Yeah, we'll put. Just send that to me, and we'll, you know, put it up on the.
Oh, you can. You can.
We'll probably put some still shots on there, and just so they know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I can I send it to you now? I don't know how. Or should I wait?
Yeah, send it to me later.
Okay. But I want
show it to me if it's up.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you.
Must have been beautiful in the snow too, huh?
Yeah. It was, you know, it got maybe a couple 100 inches of snow a year.
Yeah.
Made it, you know, snow removal was pretty pricey there. Yeah, I don't know how to do this.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know how to do anything.
You mean the one in Colorado or the one here?
The one in Colorado.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought you were talking about.
It's funny. I got time, but I don't have enough time to organize my this kind of stuff. You know, I
You only
think,
think about it when you need it.
of course, you
Right.
know, some people, they're just every day they're nailing it. And here's a bunch of,
Yeah, I got other things to do.
yeah, that's how I feel. That's how I feel. Until you get into a situation like this, you want to show somebody something and you can't do it.
Exactly.
I'm looking for a particular picture that just shows through the window of my restaurant to the view outside. And I'm coming across all the cooks and, you know, a million other things. Here's one. Oh, but it's winter.
Yeah, let me see the winter one.
Well, you can't see anything because
No.
it's snowing.
Oh, yeah, right.
all you can
Oh,
see
it's
is
beautiful.
snow.
Wow, look at that.
You know, so
That's something else.
you can't really tell what the hell.
Right.
But
That's a beautiful scene to a Michigander. Blowing snow, you can't see anything.
yeah, I know.
I know those days.
Well, you know, and I loved them. I got to
bet.
say, I loved it, and I loved the cold. But you know, I don't mind not being in the cold anymore.
Yeah.
And this place, oh my God, this place is crazy here. It's
Yeah.
so nice. We used to do weddings. So here's I'm just going for this picture because this is a picture of right outside the lodge. And this is looking at the view from.
Oh, look at
So
the
you can see-
mountains.
yeah.
Look at that.
So that's kind of, you can see there's nobody around. You know,
Sure.
it's just pretty isolated, really nice place to be.
Classic.
So I was lucky to live there, you know,
Yeah.
for a long, long time and work there. And
And absorb it. Yeah.
yeah.
It's just so much easier living out here. It
It
really
is.
is.
Yeah.
You know, I lose track of how many years I've been here because there's not that mark of winter,
Mm-hmm.
snow. Like, it just seems like one continuous summer, you know, or
Mm-hmm.
fall, I guess, out here in Monterey. You know,
The days run
It's a
in
little
too,
chilly.
especially since, you know, you don't have a family here.
Yeah.
So if you had a family and your kids were working every weekend, you'd be having a barbecue or something.
Right.
You know, or I don't know if you're a churchgoer, but you'd be going to church
Yeah.
or, you know, there would be something to mark the
To mark
days.
that, sure.
And
Right.
that's getting rarer in this society,
Yeah.
you know, because I think less than half of the people go to church anymore.
Yeah.
And so what's Sunday? It's just another, I mean, back when I was a kid, nothing was open on Sunday. You know, they had what they call the blue laws in Vermont, and nothing was open.
Really?
You know, yeah, nothing was open. You couldn't buy anything. And so it was a day of rest. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, really framed the week.
Yep.
You know, so you went to church and then you had a big dinner and
Maybe a gas station, maybe the Asian.
yeah, oh yeah,
maybe the
you know, a
Asian,
couple like the A&W would be open or
right,
you know.
or something.
But yeah, I mean, and yeah, just like downtown was shut down,
Yeah.
you know, and
Roll up the sidewalks.
that's right. Yeah,
That's what they used to say, huh?
yeah. And I think that was a good thing. You know, I
Yeah.
think it was a good thing everybody just take a breath once a week,
Sure.
you know, but now everything is 24/7, right?
Well, I wanted to go up and see those old gold towns, you know,
Mm-hmm.
Jackson, or was it Sutter's Mill and Jackson and those little places that they found gold up in there. And we went up to those little tiny towns, and yeah, they're just shut down on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
But I don't know about their Sundays. I wasn't there, but you know, I couldn't even be mad because I shut down on Monday and Tuesdays.
Right.
It's like you just got to have that, you know.
Yeah.
But Saturdays and Sundays seem to be busiest because that's when everybody's off. You know?
Yeah, a lot of
So,
corporate jobs and whatnot.
yeah,
You know,
close it
people
down on
are.
a Sunday.
I wasn't like you. I was in the service
Where you?
industry, so I never really had Saturdays or Sundays off.
Yeah.
You know, and but now, yeah, there's more people on the beach on the weekend.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
yeah,
Right.
and
But
but
the churches are still full, you know. So
some of them are. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of them have closed.
have they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yep. A lot of them are closed and doing different things in them.
Yeah.
You know, sold them off. I don't know. I was
You deep into the religion?
no, but
No.
my buddy who was here last week is, and I mean, you know, I grew up. I was pretty, you know, I was
Sure.
into it. You know, I was raised
Trying to make the parents
in
happy.
Catholic school and all
Sure, yeah,
that,
yeah.
and
Right.
you know, I'm all for it. You know,
Yeah.
I think it was phenomenal.
It's the right thing. Yeah.
And I mean, I think we were blessed to have that background. And my nephew teaches at the high school
Okay.
that I went
Still
to.
there. Okay.
Yeah, so it's still going, and it was a good thing. But this guy that I went to college with, or actually we shared a room, he went to a different school, and he's still into it. He lives in San Francisco, and he was a teacher at he was a principal at Catholic schools up there.
Sure. Yeah.
So we stopped when he was here. We rode our bikes around. We stopped at the cathedral over here and talked to a couple of the priests, and they said a lot of the schools have closed here because he's into the schools a lot, and it's definitely a different thing than it was when I was a kid.
Huh.
And even this school where my nephew's teaching, when I was there, they had the family plan, $300, which I suppose back then was some money.
Still, sure.
But everybody in the family could go, and now it's like $6,000-7,000
Per child.
And my buddy who's teaching, or he's retired now, but who was a principal in what is up there, San Francisco, he said it's like $20,000-25,000 to go to school up there for a kid.
What changed? Like the
And
churches don't back them up anymore, or it used to be state funded, or
No,
how could it make that $300
the
jump
main
for the
thing
whole
that
family
changed
to
is
greed?
no. In fact, there's really the main thing that changed is the faculty. So back in the day, it was all nuns. They were getting like $300 for teaching for a year.
Sure.
And now there's not any nuns left. And so
Lost your free teaching.
yeah, so they've
faculty.
got all these other people, and they're still not really competitive price-wise. My buddy was into unionization of the teachers, trying to get them a decent wage, but if you do that, then it costs money. And back in Vermont, they haven't. I mean, they should be charging $20,000 if they were going to pay the teachers appropriately.
Yeah. See, there's a.
So it's a tough thing to do, and I mean, the physical plants, everything costs a lot.
Right. Sure.
When you're not funded by the state.
Yeah. Right.
And
You have to charge for it.
you do. Yeah. So that's why that's why this. I don't know about this, so I shouldn't talk about it. But what do they call the schools there? They're kind of semi-private.
Like intermediate or
No. Here's you got your regular public schools and then charter schools.
Oh, charter.
So you got these charter schools, and like they can be religious run or they can be private, and there's a big push, to get state money for them. So in the end, you end up with these schools, I think, that are run for religion, not for the basic read and write and arithmetic. And of course, they claim it's better the way they're doing it.
Right. Sure.
But in the end, it kind of breaks the barrier between church and state.
Yeah. Right.
And so, my opinion, those guys should be paying their own way,
right.
just like the Catholics should.
Sure.
I don't mind that they're charging people.
Yeah.
But of course, I'm not going either.
Yeah. We tried that church over state before. It didn't work out so well.
No. I mean, that's why we're here.
Right.
That's hard for some people to get that through their head, waving the Bible, around. And,
Yeah.
That's not what the U.S. is all about.
Be careful, right? In God we trust.
Well, everybody trusts in God, but that's about it. It doesn't go beyond that, or it shouldn't.
Right.
And so, you got to believe in God. I mean, where did we come from, right?
I don't know.
I don't know. Do you believe in God?
I don't.
You don't even know. Well, you got to believe in God, man. You got to believe in God. You didn't make it yourself. I didn't.
I look at it like it's trying to explain a computer to a dog.
That's exactly right.
I have no way of knowing. There's no way I could make a guess of what started this existence.
No, I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying that you don't know. Your analogy is perfect. Because a dog can't figure it out. I mean, where's that food coming? He's
Oh,
never
he
going to
just
figure
loves
that
me
out.
to the end, but
And
he'll
we
never
ca-
figure out how
We
to
can't
send
figure
an
it out
email.
either. There's no way we can figure it out.
Right.
And so, but the dog knows it's happening,
Right.
and he knows it's something beyond himself.
Right.
He looks at us
And he
as
could
God.
be happy with that.
Yeah, and I feel that's what that thing is God to him. Like you are God to him, right?
Sure.
And we don't know, we can't identify it, but that's God.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Right.
That's all we can know. The rest
Right.
is, opinion. That different.
Oh, yeah.
Different.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's
I
a God.
couldn't know that.
I'm just saying, there's a God. Beyond that,
Right.
I
mean, but being a sober guy, I've been through AA and you higher powers and all that type of thing. It's like, yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of examining that. I was raised, very Christian,
Yeah.
and I've read the Bible. I know all that.
Oh yeah, me too.
So, I just, I don't have the knowledge to have an opinion of who's right and wrong between Muslims and Jewish. And I don't need to know.
You don't. I mean, all you got to know is the golden rule, right?
I just
Do
know
unto others as
probably
they
all
do unto
wrong.
you. That's all you got to know.
See,
And if you know
that's
that,
exactly
and if you,
it, man.
and they all have that. All the religions
Right.
have that embedded somewhere
Sure.
in their doctrine,
Right.
But then they surround it by all this
But
other
you can
stuff,
manipulate that too.
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple. You don't want anybody hitting you. You don't want anybody shooting you.
Right.
You don't want anybody raping you. You don't want
Right.
anybody cheating you.
Exactly.
I mean, a lot of it goes back to the Ten Commandments, but
I was just
they're
thinking
just
about
the
the Ten
basic,
Commandments. Pretty much.
laws,
Right.
that
Transcend
all
all
the
religions.
society. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, and just stick to the basics. You're going to
Right.
be okay.
Right.
And I think most people think that way.
Yeah, I hope so. Well,
I do. I mean, the other idea is, there's the yin and the yang, right? So you got all these guys trying to be good, and then to make the world go around, you got to have all these other people trying to do bad.
Good versus evil, right?
Yeah. Although,
All the way through everything.
One thing I think,
Even in plants,
yeah, in plants, but you think about what the nation's gone through in the last, I don't know how long it's been, probably since ever Mitch McConnell got in there, where there was a lot of control and there was a lot of so maybe 6 years or something, or even before Obama, that was pretty controversial.
Yeah.
When he got in there, but both sides think they're right.
Sure.
I mean, they really do.
Right.
They really think they're the good people.
Yeah.
Right. and so these, but from the other point of view, they're the bad people, or their ideas are mistaken.
Right.
And so you got these two forces going around: the good and the bad, the yin and the yang, right?
Right.
Ish, and that's what makes society work and makes life interesting, I guess.
Yeah, it's. I guess that's one thing I love about this program. I can sit down with anybody and just have a conversation. Nobody's trying to cancel each other out. Nobody's trying to, just be mean. Seems like everybody's trying to split apart, and I just want to be able to sit down with anybody and have a conversation with them. I may not agree with everything that everybody says, but,
well, if you're a grown-up, you can. I mean, a lot of my friends are
right.
diametrically opposed to the way I look at the world.
Yeah.
Even my relatives, and
Sure.
probably even some of my brothers, sisters. But
They'd
I
call
don't,
you out.
but we definitely have a good time together.
Yeah. Right.
And when you think about it, the more you listen to them, I got a sister that's a teacher, and nobody trusts the teachers. And I'm like, if you don't trust her, you're freaking nuts. She's, she's a pro.
Right.
And I think we talked before about doctors, how you have to be your own doctor. But, even though you're getting background on it, when it comes down to it, that guy knows so much more than you do.
Sure.
And he's got so much more experience.
Right.
That, if you don't pay attention to him, you're probably making a mistake.
Right. Sure.
And I get a second opinion, but same with teachers. I mean, I don't know if my friends that are teachers are different than. Well, I know this guy in San Francisco has has done the way he describes things. I would do things a little differently from the way he's doing it, but he's in the trenches.
Yeah.
You know, he knows he's living it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to second guess him. You know, I honor that because I know he's a pro.
Yeah.
You know,
right,
I know
right.
he's a pro, and so yeah, I think that's a big part of it. We're trying to, you know, we all got a little. You know, the internet gives us the ability to know a little bit about everything, and
Yeah.
part of the thing with the modern world is a lot of things have been pushed on us where in the past, you know, you would go to a travel agent to buy a plane ticket or whatever. Now you just get on the internet. In the past, you know, probably even you would have a secretary. You know what I'm saying? And you might. I don't know if you have somebody that does that kind of work for you. But,
Yeah.
you know, when I came along, I didn't. I mean, when I first bought my lodge, I had, I think, 6 people working the front desk. But by the time a computer came in and by the time cell phones came in that you could carry with you, it was just me, you know, and all that got put on me,
Yeah.
you know, and even if I had had one other person, it would have gone from 6 to 1,
Sure.
you know, because that's kind of how we're doing all these other things and we know a little bit about a lot, but we don't really know enough,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
to go through the world without asking advice.
I really have to hire my weaknesses.
Yeah.
Because that will follow everything in my plans. I mean, I've come to realize that about myself, you know, because I will procrastinate if I'm uneasy about a certain part of a situation. You know, if I can hire out, if I'm putting a business together and I'm not sure exactly how to get this file to that or to how to build this website or something, you know, am I going to spend a year trying to figure out how to learn how to build a website? No, I'm not going to do that.
No.
It's not worth it to me because I don't have to build that many of them. And there's people out there who can do it
Oh, yeah.
within 5 minutes
Yeah.
or, you know,
Well, whatever.
5 hours,
Yeah.
whatever it was, you know.
Yeah. And I mean, when you think about teachers, these guys have
Exactly.
gone through
Right.
at least 4 years of education, and then they have to keep going to school
Yeah.
to stay certified and this and that. And I mean, they learn about so many different things,
Yeah.
you know, that don't even come into our minds, you know. So yeah, I've done the same thing. I mean, I try to learn a little bit about everything, but you know, I don't know if you've ever been to court, but I've had my share of going to court, and I always read all the laws that I get charged with, or whatever. Or, you know, if somebody's suing me or if I'm suing them or whatever, and I read them, and but I don't read all the case history of them. I mean, you know, there's a book on all these laws that go on forever. Right. But at least when I talk to the lawyer, he can explain it to me, and I can understand.
Because he's read it.
Yeah, or he's had. I just had a case last year where I thought I was being taken advantage of,
Yeah.
and I was. But the lawyer is like, you know what, dude, you're gonna lose.
Really?
You're right. You're being taken advantage of. But you're going to spend a lot of time and effort, and the sentiment is against you, you know, because this was an employee-employer thing, and it was against the employer in Colorado, and I could probably got in another state, and in this case, it might have worked out differently, but I was like, okay, you know.
You just drop it. Let it go, man.
Yeah.
Good advice.
So, yeah, you know, so those guys, I didn't want to do it. It was against my nature to drop it.
Yeah.
You know, because I
was right.
I was right, and I had luck. You know, I had luck before with coming out on top. You know, even when I lost, I kind of won.
Yeah, right.
And so, you know, I hope that's how this was. I just kind of
slide on through.
Shook the dust off my feet.
Right.
And let it go.
Yeah.
So
right.
You know, and that was a lawyer. I was grateful for that advice.
Sure. Right.
You know.
A week later. Took a minute to brush off, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right.
I know.
That's right. But
what are you doing for hobbies now?
I'm learning Spanish, man.
Oh, mercy! You told
Spanish.
me that.
Yeah.
How was that? You said you were doing some of that today.
I was. Yeah.
What were you doing today?
Today I'm learning. Let's see, the preterite, I think it's called, which is a simple past, I'm not sure this is right. Okay, but and then I learned another kind of pass where you say estaba, and it's like the action pass.
Oh, okay, right.
And
action verbs. And,
yeah,
right.
In the pass, and so shoot, you got to learn a million words and vocabulary, and
exactly.
then you got to be able to. And I'm a real slow thinker, so I'm not sure a second language is a good thing for me, but I figure I need some
lubing up the wheels in there, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to keep it going, or they will get rusty.
That's the main.
That is no shit. I learned that growing older. You know, you got a couple of years on me, but I can feel the rust if you don't. If you don't keep studying and reading and looking and.
Yeah, you'll feel it anyway. I mean, you already know.
Right.
You already know. I mean, I got a nephew who's 25 and. I don't know. He hasn't finished college, but he is so much smarter than I am as far as thinking quickly and processing and
exactly.
He figures out. I've actually figured out the stuff, but he is so good at talking about it and putting me in a corner that it's really entertaining. And but holy moly, I don't know if wisdom just means patience. I don't know if those two things are the same. You're just chilling out and
they both come to you, I think.
Yeah, going with the flow a little bit.
Right.
Letting it happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Espanol. I was actually thinking about that. They're advertising these wireless earbuds. And I thought, well, I'm giving massages 8 hours a day. Mm-hmm. I could slip these things in, turn it on really low, so I can still hear everything that's going on, but somewhere I can hear somebody teaching me Spanish just a little bit at a time. I thought, well, that might. Yeah. I don't know if that'd sink into my old stone skull.
I would be so pissed off if I bought them. Are you doing that already?
Because, no.
Because I want you to pay attention to me. I want you to pay attention to one thing. I want you to focus.
Yeah.
Enfocar, I think it's.
So it's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea, man. And especially as you get older, it is harder to, our mind. Or my mind, I don't know if you're. I'm thinking I'm just bebopping around all the time.
Right.
And it probably always was.
Yeah.
But it's harder to focus on one thing, and
right.
In massage, I mean, well, of course, everybody's got a different body.
Yeah.
And some of them you probably enjoy massaging, and some of them you're like, oh no, not this guy again.
No. But it's always a basic search pattern. So you're right. I really do have to stay focused on every single. Yeah. You're right.
And so, no, I don't advise against that one.
Sometimes I'll be having a conversation with somebody that I've known for years, and it's like, where am I? Did I do this arm? I don't know. I get so deep in the conversation. So you're right. It is.
Yeah.
Especially when you're doing it that many hours a day,
Mm-hmm. So. Well, I mean, I'm amazed that you're doing it. I mean, a lot of people, they phase out, after 10 years or so of it, because it's so hard on your joints.
I think the average I've read is about 5 to 7 years. Mm-hmm. So, so I'm way past that.
Yeah, you are, and you're strong.
Yeah.
And so kudos to you. I think a lot of people modify their techniques.
Yeah.
As they age, and
I can feel
keep
that.
It going. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All of a sudden that wrist doesn't want to do quite that angle anymore. Yeah, mm-hmm. Right. It's slowly.
Well, I mean, that's how we all do.
Yeah, over years.
That's how we all do with whatever we're doing.
But in other ways, I've gotten a lot stronger too. So so it all balances out.
Exactly. Yeah, you find a way to do it.
Exactly.
I've been amazed by. I'm one. If I don't know something, I'll just say I don't know. I don't remember. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But a lot of my friends are older than me. Like your friends, probably you have friends older than you.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And watching them, maybe in 20 years older or something, and they just pretend that they haven't forgotten or know anything. They just pick it right up, and they don't tell you what's wrong with them.
Sure.
And you have to be around them a long time before you realize what's really going on with them, because they're so good at working what they got,
Sure.
And that's important.
Sure.
That's important.
Yeah.
I got to practice that too, along with the Espanol.
Along with a lot of other things, I know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Heck yeah. So what's next? That's the name of the show. What's next?
What's next? Well, what's next for me is I'm moving from the beach down to the redwoods down there in the Big Sur.
Oh, you're going down to Big Sur. Okay.
And as soon as I get moved in, I'm gonna pack my car and head up to Wyoming, hang out with my sister for a while, head to Vermont, and hang out with the family, and then head to Iceland with my nephew for a while, back to Wyoming for a wedding, and then I'm not sure. I'm gonna keep traveling the next year or two.
Oh yeah.
On and off. Yeah.
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 Iceland's amazing. I've
Have you
never
been there?
I haven't
Oh,
been
no.
there, but I've
Yeah.
seen different, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I
Documentaries
think we
and
should
stuff
be
on it.
walking, but we rented a van, and I'm not really sure what the hell I'm doing. I'm not really a great planner. I'm like, get off the plane and look around and see what's there.
Yeah.
And fortunately, what I understand is anyway, there's just a one road that goes all the way around the country. So I think you just get on that road and see what's there. I mean, I'll look as the time gets closer, but it's starting to get kind of closer. I want to get this Spanish out of the way, though. I'm taking an online course, which it's awesome. You Zoom some guy, and my guy's from Peru.
Oh,
He's
wow.
from Lima. And so a couple hours every day, I'm talking to this dude, and mostly in English. Unfortunately, but the idea is that you
Slowly we'll transition over.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool. So, but that's going to end here at the end of the month, and so then I'll be free from meetings. You know, I can go crazy for a while.
Yeah. At least you can order a meal or something, maybe, or you know.
Well, I can read a menu more.
Yeah,
You know, and
right.
I read more and I listen to some TV.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't get it all, but I'm ahead of where I was.
Oh, you're actually watching the TV in Spanish?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I watched a couple. I watched series,
Series
Netflix,
immersion.
and watch a series, and so you kind of know what's going on. And
Yeah.
I never watched Netflix before, so
Yeah.
I'm not really a big TV guy, so I was surprised at what you see. Anyway, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. So
Crazy stuff. Man, you got some travels ahead of you. That's a hell of a plan you got there.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where I'm going. I want to go around the world, like I was saying.
Sure.
So next couple of years, we'll see what's up.
Get yourself settled down in a little spot down there in Big Sur, and
Yeah.
then you'll have a home base.
That's the plan.
Right on.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Well, it's phenomenal out here.
Yeah.
You know, so it'll be good. I'm not a little worried about the fires.
Yeah.
And
Kind of centrally located there perfectly, though. You
yeah.
can head north or south.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean a fire there. And
Yeah.
I'm not really. I mean, the whole state, I guess, is in high fire danger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, super high everywhere in the entire state of California. In Colorado, in fact, back in Durango, they've already had a forest fire this year.
Wow.
And
That's so scary in the mountains because there's just no way to fight that.
well,
It
they
just
find
goes up.
helicopters and
Yeah, but
and
there's
all
just
that.
no way you can get in there. It's just so steep. And
Yeah. No, they have to use
yeah.
airplanes and whatnot. It's pretty intense. We had a fire a couple of years ago, and I think they brought 2,000 or 3,000 people in.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they set up camp, and it's a big deal.
Huge.
And they build fire line. I mean, they'll build these fire lines there. These guys work. I mean, they've got it figured out. But an interesting thing that happened was the insurance companies fund their own private fire departments, and when there's a fire near property they've insured, these guys show up. You know, like State Farm or whoever.
Department.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know which one, but
serious?
I was like,
That's
I couldn't
great.
believe it. Yeah, it was crazy. Drove up my driveway, one of them, and but the feds, you know, they had a fire line way bigger, and they really were running the show. They did a phenomenal job.
Yeah. The fires out here are just insane.
It's too
can't
hot.
even hard to wrap my head around the amount of acreage that gets burned up
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you coming from Midwest. How does it not rain for that many months in a row?
Right.
You know, of course it's going to be a tinderbox.
Yeah. Well, climate change, I mean, it's real.
Yeah.
And, Texas is burning up, those poor people, they got the cold and now they have the heat and their electricity's going out all the time. And they still think they got the bull by the horns, but,
It's getting hot.
It's getting hot. It's getting hot. So.
Yeah, it's just not even feasible to live out there without the AC.
No, and I mean here at least
you're in trouble.
the government has faced the facts. Whether they're doing, I have no idea how they're spending the money. I know they got a lot of money out here.
Yeah,
but at least they acknowledge that of course half the state's burned. So it's a real thing here.
Sure.
And they know they have to deal with it. Whereas I don't think they quite figured that out in Texas.
Not quite yet.
Not quite yet. And like we're saying, back up in the northern states, it's just not real for us in the same way. I mean, it might rain instead of snow, so it might impact the tourist season a little bit, but it's not life threatening like it is out here.
Yeah. Right.
So
crazy stuff.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yeah. This internet thing's a little crazy. You can just be as mean, as nasty, and build as many walls as you want. But, old school, we just sat down, we talked.
Right. And I mean, you think about, that's what everybody used to do, know.
Send a letter, man.
Even, it just was. I mean, our town, people, back in the day, there were Democrats and Republicans and Christians or Catholics, Protestants, and Jews, and there were Irish and French and Italians, and everybody really got. You had friends across every boundary.
Of course.
And
we all made fun of each other.
It was races. Yeah, it was just wonderful.
Yeah, it was great.
It was phenomenal. And now
part of being the big salad bowl.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll get back to that. Hopefully we'll get back to that. Yeah. And this is how you do it.
This is how you do it.
And this is how you do it. You just start talking and you keep talking and you respect the other guy and what they say, and
right.
You don't try to really proselytize. I mean, you're other than, I guess all you're really trying to teach people to do is how to talk to each other.
Right.
You're not really trying to teach them what to say.
I'm not trying to influence anybody.
Yeah, you're not trying to get them to, become. You're not trying to turn the Italians into the Irish or Catholics into Jews or any of that. You're just trying to get them to talk to each other. So
that's what makes the world go round.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Just stop by each other's houses unannounced. How about that?
Yeah.
Hey, man, how's it going?
Right.
Now they look at you like, what?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Who are you? Why'd you call?
Why didn't you call? Right.
Yeah.
I was in the neighborhood.
Right. And that's, I wonder if that's a function of our age as well, because I think kids must still just stop by. Although maybe with the phones they can get a hold of everybody right away.
Yeah, I don't think they do.
Don't you?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I had a couple of boys and a couple of girls, and all the boys, they'd meet their band of friends, and they would all gather at the park with their phones. And so I mean, they still gather. They're still having fun.
Yeah, but I think the phones are different because they're definitely communicating in a different way and more precisely. I mean, just think about the phone being on the wall, when you're a kid, or on the phone, and if you miss the call, you miss the call. There was no answering machine.
Oh, none. Oh, yeah. And, answering service.
Yeah,
Oof.
And nobody called after 8 o'clock or whatever. I mean, you just it had to be like somebody was dying or something.
Sure, right.
And it was just weird, It wasn't.
It's weird looking back, but it wasn't weird then.
It was awesome then. I think it was better. I think that part was better,
I
honestly.
remember going over to my friend's house and they had one of those cords on your phone that you could damn near walk around the house with. I thought that was just the most amazing thing. You didn't have to stay within 5 feet of the wall phone.
Right,
that was incredible.
Yeah, right.
Come a long way, brother.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
We had one of those so my mother could sit and talk because she was a talker.
Yeah, right.
And but yeah, I mean, it was just a different. The kids. I guess they're. I mean, this is the casualness of running into people and doing something. Things are more planned. I mean, one thing that freaks me out looking at our play dates. I mean, are you kidding me? Why? Like you say, and I mean, when we grow up, we just had a street. We all the kids would get together and play in the street, or we had neighborhood fields. We all had our games in the field, and everybody would go to the field after school and wait for somebody else to show up.
Right.
And I mean, nobody made
Goes
a
to the
date to play with
graveyard.
anybody else. Yeah, you just sought each other out.
Right.
And of course back then, your parents didn't care where the hell they just, where you were. They were just glad you're out of the house and wanted to see you at dinner time.
All my friends had to be in when the street lights went on,
Right,
and
exactly.
so they're all alone. I might as well go home too.
Yep, exactly.
So,
that's how it was. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it was a good way.
Yeah.
But that part it's a profound change, in society here, and I'm sure of course the internet is huge, and birth control is huge.
Yeah.
You think about all those things, it's changed things quite a bit.
Yeah, right. Was that guy from Crosby, Stills and Nash, Crosby? I think he was saying he was born in the best time ever. He came up through after the invention of contraception and before the AIDS crisis.
Yeah.
So he was like, when he was talking about when he hit this day,
that was probably the best time ever. Yeah. Yeah.
You might be a little older than you, but yeah, that's right about it's your era.
I mean, it's a pretty good time right now as far as that's concerned. But
yeah, people want to say how bad it is now, or it's not. It's like I can't.
It's a phenomenal time.
I can't think of any time in history that I'd rather be.
No, this is
not
a
even
phenomenal
close.
time. Yeah. This is really crazy. I mean, geez, of course I can't quote it. I can just only
paraphrase
right. Or the idea even. But I got a Paul Simon disc, and for the car, and one of the song is about what a crazy world it is, and you're watching supernovas, and people are blowing other people up, and all this stuff is going on right now. It's so damn exciting.
Right, it sure is.
And I mean, things are always happening, but not like this.
Yeah.
Not that there was an awareness of what's going on.
Yeah. We got little rovers cruising around on Mars.
Yeah, I mean, holy moly.
What?
Yeah.
How's that? Wait, what?
Yeah.
How's that possible?
Yeah.
There's some mathematicians that put that one together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, going to the moon was such a big deal,
Sure.
And you think, but now we're on Mars, and Musk wants to have a colony there, right?
Yeah, I'm not going, but
I'm not going. Hell no, I'm not going to the moon. I'm not going up in a rocket. I mean, I'm not bungee jumping.
I'm not even bungee jumping. Let alone going to Mars.
Yeah, or, I'm not doing any of that stuff. So. Maybe if I was young and I was in the right spot, maybe.
Maybe.
I mean,
maybe not.
We all had our, I'm sure you had riskier things you did when you were a kid.
Not flying to the moon.
No, but I mean, maybe car racing. Something,
Living on the edge.
Yeah. And, but the edge has gotten sharper, a lot sharper since we were kids,
That's
I mean,
sure.
you see these kids in X Games and, the kinds of stuff they're doing, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And at the time, the stuff we were doing, we felt it was phenomenal.
Yeah, right.
And it was.
I remember seeing a sidewalk surfer in the back of one of my magazines when I was a kid. So I cut one of my sister's roller skates in half and bolted it to a board, made a sidewalk surfer. skateboard now,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it was like
yeah.
that was a long time ago,
yeah.
man. It was like, and now you look at the X Games; these guys are flying through the air.
Yeah.
They're even doing backflips on snowmobiles.
Oh, I know.
What?
I know. Yeah, I know.
That's craziness.
Yeah, it is crazy.
What was your first car?
Oh, geez, I had a Mercury Comet.
Mercury Comet.
I had a Mercury Comet.
What year was that?
No, that's a good question. I guess it was
Early 60s, something like that?
No, it was about 70, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, 72. It's when I came west. I didn't have a car, and then I came west, so I bought a car, and that was the cheapest one the guy had.
Really?
And yeah, and it was weird because I told you this. I had enough dough. I could have had a Camaro. A brand new one, you know. And that was, imagine if I still had that car, you know. But I just couldn't bring myself to spend the dough and
Yeah,
you know, insurance and all that.
for sure.
And,
It would have been a terrible car in Colorado.
yeah, well, it would. Well, I was going to Wyoming. It would have been even worse there.
It would have been even worse.
And you know, there you need a pickup truck, and I ended
Right.
up owning pickup trucks for 40 years.
To end up, yeah,
Yeah.
making the switch.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, but boy, I wished I'd got that car. You know, that's I mean, not a real regret, but it would have been fun.
Yeah.
You know,
72
and so I
Camaro.
just had that car for maybe a year.
The old Comet.
Yeah, and then I traded it on a truck.
Oh, yeah. Need four-wheel drive right now.
Yeah, and and I just drove them until last year or the year before, and I got a Subaru to travel in.
Yeah, just always stuck with the pickup trucks, huh?
Yeah. I love them, and I don't know. I don't really like this. Is a great car. You know, you won't go wrong if you buy a Subaru, but it isn't really me. You know.
Yeah,
But
I can dig it.
I'm gonna keep it anyway. You
Yeah.
know? I mean,
Right.
I like your car, man.
Yeah, the old Lincoln.
The Lincoln. Yeah, that's pretty classy.
Yeah, it's a fun
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. And do you have other cars, or is that it?
I do a little bit of flipping. I just
Yeah.
flipped an Audi A4. I've got a little Mercedes convertible that I'm almost done with. I'm gonna put a windshield in it, and then I'll flip that one. But
Nice.
they're fun to drive around, you
Yeah.
know, just goof off with them.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. You gonna sell your Lincoln?
Well, I got more money into it than it's worth is the problem.
Yeah,
you know,
that is a problem.
you know, so if it was cherry and mint, it would probably be worth 20,000 or 22 or something, but that's
Yeah.
about what I have into it. I haven't even started the body work. I've done everything, the motor and everything underneath,
Gotcha.
but there's a lot of work to go. So I'll be up over what it's worth. So,
Yeah.
but that's just love of a beautiful car.
Well,
man.
it's a great ride.
It just says America all over it,
It does.
doesn't it? Detroit.
Yeah. When I was a kid, you know, there's a couple people in town that had those, and we were
Sure.
like, holy moly, you know.
Yeah.
I remember riding in the back of one once, and I was like, wow, this guy's so rich. This is so nice. You know.
It's like a living room with wheels.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, it's a cool car.
But,
I won't flip that one.
Yeah, well, you don't need to, right?
Right. Well, you know, in Michigan, those things, 67 Lincoln was probably gone by 75. They were all rusted
Yeah,
away and gone.
exactly.
You know? So
Yeah.
really haven't seen any since then, really, unless you're traveling through the South or something. Or, you know, come out to California and here's one that's been sitting in a barn for 40 years. It's like, you kidding me? How is this thing in one piece?
Yeah,
You know? I just got to have it.
Yeah, good for you, man.
Yeah.
Good for you.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can see that if I had time getting into
Sure.
that in a shop. I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta, and the tools. You probably brought a lot of tools with you.
Yeah, I'm more of a carpenter, you know. I've
Yeah.
always built and remodeled and flipped houses and stuff like that. So I need a little more help when I get into the cars. You know, say I need a water pump or something. It's like, no, that's going to my buddy that knows what he's doing.
Okay. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
something like that. You know, on the Mercedes, anyways. Yeah, that's all way above my head. Yeah,
Gotcha.
but
Yeah, I got a friend that just does bugs, or not bugs, but VW vans.
Volkswagens. Oh,
Yeah, I think
cool.
we might have talked about this,
Yeah,
but
right.
you know, he specializes it, and so people know he does it,
Oh, okay.
and he's doing great. He's making a lot of dough on it. I think you had a buddy doing something similar too.
Well, I watched this guy on the internet,
Oh, on
and
the
he's
internet.
out of Canada, and it's like the musty one, and I just love watching this guy work.
Yeah.
You know, he's just a great natured guy, and he just, you know, he's just got just a tons of these Volkswagens. You know, he'll fix anything, but I think you know, he's got the old Volkswagen pickup trucks and the old vans that look like trucks, and kind of neat.
Yeah.
It's really taught me a lot about the Volkswagen itself and the motor and how it works.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so it's kind of a learning channel. It's really cool.
Does he have? Does he make money on the?
Oh, I'm sure.
I mean, does he have a lot of subscribers?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, he
yeah.
does.
Right, right.
Yeah, that's
Constantly
amazing.
growing.
Amazing how the internet's in our life, and
Yeah.
I can see that you're trying to, you know, take advantage of it. I think that's awesome.
Trying to get
Learn
myself
again,
updated.
become part of the world.
Sure,
the
exactly.
world as it is.
Right, right.
And I don't know if I care about it or not. You know, I feel like I just as soon put the phone down, even. You know.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
But you know, if I was a little younger, I would be so into it.
But we're not so old that we can be obsolete, you know.
No,
we're young enough to where we need to, because we still got plenty of years ahead of us.
Well, I hope we do. And,
No, you know you do.
And you gotta be able to function in society.
Exactly.
You know, and
Right.
you know, we've been around enough to see how it changes and the speed at which it changes, and
Right,
to anticipate. You know, definitely things are moving a little quicker, but not. You know, it's not overnight. Things take a while
Right.
to change, and
Boy, you blink your eyes sometimes, and it's like, wow.
well, that's with a year, right? The years go that way, but
Exactly.
technology still has to build on, you know, what has come before,
Sure.
and so I think we're okay. But I think it's interesting what you're doing, and I think that when I settle down a little bit, I'll probably get a little more interested in doing something in the virtual world.
Yeah. But look at you. You're on the internet, learning different languages, traveling.
Well, that's true. Yeah. No, I use it.
You bet you do.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what you're doing. You learn well enough to get yourself by,
Right.
you know.
I'm not making any money off it. You know, and,
Monetizing. That's the trick.
monetizing.
For sure. Right.
Well, you know, we're just you just don't know if you got enough. You know, everybody's like, oh, I need more, and I don't know if I got enough or not, or if I need more. And you always want to have a little more,
Yeah.
but I don't think it's good to have too much. You know, I don't
Yeah.
think you want to be like Scrooge McDuck and
Right.
have
Right.
that big old vault. You know, or like the.
I guess that's what I'm investigating with the internet. It's like, how can I do something that makes residual money? If I can put up, you know, something that's interesting, entertaining, you know, how can you monetize that? Or how can I take a skill of mine on something like Skillshare and put up a half dozen classes on there, and then it's there forever.
Right.
And whoever hits on that will pay me through the years. So it's not something that I ever have to go back to. I can keep adding to if I want to. If not, it's the part of the internet now.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I think the key, and I was thinking about this a little bit with you, is that the skill you share, you want to share a skill that a lot of people are interested, that you have a big audience for.
Right.
So, for instance, you're talking about running a massage company.
Right.
Well, that's not a very big audience.
Right.
It's just these guys that, and even if you think all the guys that own massage companies,
Yeah.
a lot of them have figured out a different way already, and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But for some people, it's going to be very useful. But your audience isn't the world, you know, or isn't
It is though.
It isn't dudes.
It's the
you
world.
know, or well, yeah, but it's a really small slice of the world.
Right.
So
that's okay. A small slice of billions.
Maybe I don't know.
Right.
I mean, looking at your skill set and thinking about it, to me, the more people are interested in getting massages than are setting up a massage business.
Right.
Exponentially more.
Right.
So if you somehow set up something or you went into that part of it,
Right.
then your audience would be a lot better or bigger.
Exactly.
And so your chance of hitting it big might be better.
Right.
You know, especially since it's the internet. I mean, you'll have competition.
Right.
But you
And
know, your
a lot of
audience
people
will
are
be bigger.
a lot of people are doing that. They'll take one skill, they'll put it up there, and then they'll put something else. Some guys have 30 different classes on all different things.
Oh, is that right?
And then once one hits, then they double down on that one.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So since this program I have already done, it's already written, and it's just sitting on ice on how to build a spa.
Yeah.
It's like, well, nobody's going to pay me money if it's sitting on my computer.
True that.
You know, and I worked on it for years. So why not just take it and just throw it on to a couple of these Skillshare?
When are you going to do it?
Well, it's not formatted. It's formatted to sell as a package, but I don't want to really do that. You know, I'd rather just reformat it to be in a free, and then put it on a site where people can access it. It's like they pay a small fee for all the classes on that whole website, and they can take anything from Spanish to how to build a drawer or how to, you know, anything, and then and they have access to all of those. And then next I'll do a program about how to give a basic massage to your spouse if they come home from a rough day at work, how to work on their hand, or, you know,
have you
break
looked
it
at
down
have
little
you
spots
have,
like
have
that.
you are there I got to think there's probably programs out there, aren't there, about giving massages and stuff?
Tons.
There are.
Yeah. I just got to be the best.
Yeah, well, you have to be more interesting
Right.
to the people that are watching it.
Yeah.
And
Or try to be anyways.
yeah, I
you
mean,
know.
I guess I would. I mean, you got a personality, so that's a good start.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what you would do to make. I think you got to, in a way, you got to be a character of some
Right,
kind. You have
right.
to have something that singles you out.
Sure.
And that people want to.
Yeah. But I don't mind failing either. You know,
Yeah.
I don't. That doesn't bother me. You know, I just learn from failure. If that didn't work out, how can I tweak it to do it better?
I mean, but it seems to me that you could do a video of a very simple give yourself spouse massage.
Right.
You know, maybe it's just a 10-minute, like you say,
Right.
come home from work massage.
Yeah.
And you could probably make that video in an hour and get it up to YouTube
Right.
this week.
And very basics.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You can really hurt somebody with a massage.
Well, but
You know.
they're not going to be.
Right. But
not-
I don't want
They're not.
Get 'em too
that's not-
skilled.
no.
to just the basics.
Well, I remember, there was the massage book back. Did you ever come across that one? A little hippie massage book. It's still out there.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'll have to track it down.
And if you can, if I see it, I'll bring it in. And but it was just for every, all
Sure.
I think it was out of California because
Right.
like they're all naked giving each other massages and everything.
Yeah. Well, I deal in a different type of massage than just a bunch of naked people getting around rubbing each other. You know what I mean? I'm going after scoliosis and car accidents and sports injuries, and
But
I
I'm
want to
talking-
see long-term results for people that can't move. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
It's
I do.
different.
But I'm just talking about your basic intro.
Your
Right. Coming home from work massage.
Yeah.
So you can branch into those other kinds later. But I mean,
right.
or your kid. Like I had a friend. She bought a massage table and had it in her house, and she was giving her kids massage and her husband's massages.
Sure.
And I'm sure she never got to be a pro, but she enjoyed doing it, and they loved getting it.
Sure.
You know, and so, I mean, if you started that way, that's going to have the widest audience.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And it'd be super easy to do.
Right.
You wouldn't have to think about it much. You could, like I say, you could put this on the internet in a week.
Sure. Oh yeah.
That's what you need.
It's got to go through editing and got to go through
but
music and intros and outros and all that kind of thing.
Not incredible hard to do.
No.
I mean, the one thing that held me back when I was having the restaurant we were doing, I was like, okay, we're going to put our specials up. We're going to make a little video. And I did, for a few weeks.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't have the right software, blah, blah, blah. Well, one of my cooks just got his cell phone out and made one, and it was good enough for what we needed.
Exactly, right.
And it wasn't like it was going to be our end result. We were just starting.
Sure.
So, just start simple. Don't get too excited about it. And because you can always take them down.
Right.
As you get into, you can redo them with your new outfit, or your new office, or however you want to do it.
Or just leave them up there, let them run.
Yeah, but I think the main thing is just get it going.
Yeah.
One thing, if you had a video like that, it's going to give you some instant cred for your Skillshare.
Yeah. Right.
Because it's going to amplify.
Yeah.
What you do, and I think that's part of the game now is getting it out there as much as you can.
Sure.
Getting some volume going.
Right.
I don't know all the words they use, but they got a language on their own to run the internet.
That course that I had written covers all aspects of starting a small business, all from hooking up all the electronics, all of everything. So that'll all be broken down in different sections and retitled. It won't just be for massage, so we'll open it up in different ways.
Gotcha.
But like I said, it's already done. So let's just start that one,
Well, where is it? I mean, where is it? Where is it going to be up next week?
In the clouds, man.
Come on, man. Let's get going.
I know. Well, you can't rush the editors. Let them make it pretty, get the right music, it doesn't have to be too much, but let them do their thing,
Yeah.
So hire your weaknesses, right?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, when you see some of the videos, I don't know if this happened to you, probably not, because you were, you're a pro carpenter, but in the lodge when we had a problem, which it's just like you have every kind of problem. You have a car problem, you have a washing machine problem, you got a problem painting something or with a little carpentry, or it doesn't matter. I mean, but there's a video on the internet about it. So we would just go look at the videos, and a lot of them weren't very professional, but they were very useful to me.
Yeah.
You were like, save it, because that guy seemed to know what he was doing,
Yeah.
And they didn't require a lot of music and sound.
No,
it's just
exactly. Right.
They just got it going,
Right.
And
well, Skillshares, or there's a few other ones like that out there, but I think they're just a little more refined than just pulling up a YouTube.
So you have standards that you're
a little bit more.
You're trying to hit.
Right.
I think you're procrastinating. That's all. That's what I think you're doing. I don't know if you're afraid of it, or there's a little bit too much work going on right now. But I think you got to just do it, because I found that when I did it.
Yeah.
Even though I wasn't getting I didn't keep doing it, which you got to do.
Yeah.
Stay consistent. It was useful. It was useful for me, because for one thing, it was like, before you jump into a pool, you dip your toe in.
Right.
I was dipping my toe in and learning something every step of the way, what I had to get better at and what I was good enough at.
Sure, right. Yeah.
I did one, I saw weddings, and during the internet, weddings usually, they have a wedding fiesta. I don't know what the hell they call it. Wedding. All the different venues have get together, and they have an expo.
Soiree.
An expo, and the brides come, and sometimes with their grooms, but more often with their mothers and their girlfriends, and they walk around to y'all, and you got a chance to pimp them on whatever you're selling, which I was selling. The wedding is, come in my place and stay for a couple days, and
of course
you're going to have a great time. Well, along came COVID.
Oh, yeah.
And so the gal who was putting on the expo had no way to make any dough, because nobody could come. So she went virtual. So, and you could list just your stuff, but you had the option of making a video. And so I just made a video. I just got a camera and went around to my different employees, and I go, okay, you're going to say this, you're going to say that, or you just tell me whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Depending on who they were.
Right.
Just tell them how we do weddings here and blah, blah, blah. And then I said, okay, hold the camera. I'm going to fill in the missing spots, and I did my little thing. And, you know, I got all the stuff and I put it together, I put it out there, and I can't say it was used again and again and again, but I got a wedding off it. And it was like 10 grand wedding that I made off of, you know, a few hours work.
No money.
So, you know, it was worth it, and was a lot of fun because we learned how to do it, you know, for the next thing.
Right.
And, you know, that's what you got to do, man. You got to just do it, and then, you know, put it out there.
Right.
And then people will tell you. People will tell you.
Yeah.
You know, they'll tell you, or you know, if you're lucky, they will.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not, they'll be like, "Oh, it was great."
Yeah.
You know, it's great. You know, but I mean, I'll tell you. You ask me.
Sure.
You want to, you know, what you really want is 4 or 5 different guys like me they'll all come at you from a different angle, and
sure,
you know, that way you'll really get an appreciation for what's going on.
Sure.
But you just
from all different angles. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because everybody looks at things from different angles, and
yeah,
you know, the older you get, the more apt, or in my case anyway, the more apt I am to ignore a lot of the things. A lot of the angles that were important to me when I was younger, you know, like I get a massage, it's done. Do I feel good?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm not really, you know, about like, what does the office look like and da.
Sure.
But it makes an impression.
Yeah.
And when I had my lodge, I was conscious of that. And so I constructed what I thought would appeal to a wide variety of people, but still maintain a feeling, a certain, you know, spirit or whatever that I wanted to put out there.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun doing it, you know. But when I sold it, you know, they went in, they just freaking tore it apart.
Yeah.
You know, because they got a whole different idea of what's going on now, you know. And you know, I think I was on the right path. I think if I'd been there longer and I got to the end, it would have been foolish for them to do what they did. But on the other hand, that's good feedback, you know, because these guys are living today, you know, and what we, you know, I mean, you know, I like your car, right?
Yeah.
Right, but there's a lot of people that, you know, to them it's just another junker. You know, it's just another old.
For sure, right.
You know, they want to drive a BMW.
Sure.
Or, you know, maybe you sell your Mercedes to them, or you
Yeah.
know, even they want to drive a Tesla, or who the hell knows?
Right.
You know, they want something modern, and so you know, it's helpful to get the, you know, to understand what other people think. But
at the same time, you got to do it yourself.
You gotta be true to yourself.
Right.
You gotta be true to yourself, and you know, that is the main thing.
Exactly.
That is the main thing, and if you are, you're good.
I'm sure you've taken listened to a lot of people's advices and probably used part of it, putting it together. But when it was all said and done, it was all your decisions.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Maybe you decided to use their idea or whatever, but it's.
Well, I did. You know, I give you an example of that, where this restaurant I in was, for the neighborhood, was a high dollar place.
Right.
You know, and it had to be. My feeling was it had to be because there weren't very many people there, and it was like a school of fish coming by. You had to get them with a net because they only came by once a day. You know, when they got off the ski hill. Right. Or your average restaurant is supposed to turn 2.5 times in the U.S. Well, we didn't even get a turn. We'd get like a quarter turn. That was it. So we had to get a lot of money out of each of those fish. So we had to be on the higher end of things.
Right.
And
upsell.
Well, you know, they didn't have a chance. They came in. That was it. And a buddy of mine, or a few people were like, "You got to have a burger. You got to have a burger." And I'm like, I can't afford to have a burger because I got to make more money. Everybody will be ordering burgers if I put it on the list, because there weren't very many places open. So we were a little bit of a, we weren't really a monopoly, but oligopoly or something, you know.
Right.
And at any rate, I just wouldn't do it, And then
Gotta
one
keep the
day,
profit margin high.
yeah, I just needed to make more dough on each person.
Yeah.
And then one day a guy came in and he said, Wing, this is a long time ago. He goes, I'll pay $10 for a burger when they were going for $5, And I'm like, well, hell, hell yeah, I'll sell you a burger for $10 all day long.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about it in the same. I think about it the way he was thinking about it.
Making gourmet burger.
Yeah, and it was huge.
Sure.
Made out of steak,
Yeah.
and now it's $25, for the same burger, and it's worth it.
Venison.
It was beef, but it's prime, and there was a perceived value. I mean, people would come and buy that burger all the time, and it ended up being the third biggest seller on my menu, but I didn't mind because the margin was good. But I had to hear that from somebody else.
Sure.
I had to put a menu out, and these guys had to eat there, and they had to say, yeah, this is good, but I want a burger.
Yeah.
And I had to hear that for a couple of years until this guy totally changed my way of thinking by saying, I'll pay $10 for that burger. And I'm like, yeah. And, that's, if you don't put anything out there, you're not going to get that feedback,
Sure.
and you're not going to know if you should put a burger on, sure. or why not to, why to do it, why not to do it, blah 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 blah. So you gotta do it. You gotta make a stinking video and get it out there, man.
I was in a country club in Lansing, Michigan, and they had a bison burger, and it was amazing.
Oh yeah,
that must have been their way of getting the burger on there,
sure,
but making it a very gourmet,
right.
With the brioche bun or whatever it was,
and
the other thing, and
yeah,
it's like $15 for a dang hamburger, but I'm happy to pay it because it's a bison burger.
That's right.
God mercy, I don't know if I've had that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. No. Yeah, I know.
That's the ticket.
I know, but you gotta open up first.
Yeah.
So you gotta open up, find out what people are gonna want.
And upsell. Do you want what else? You want with that? You want coffee? You want desserts? Desserts. You
give an opportunity, but good waiters don't really. I know that if obviously I've read, or not obviously, but I've read a few books about running restaurants and service and blah blah blah. But good waiters aren't really pushy. They'll just which they just won't forget to say, do you want a dessert?
Sure.
Would you like a glass of wine? Do you want? You're ready for a drink. What would you like?
Well,
this is our special, but they don't pimp it.
No, but their tip is on a percentage. So if they can if they can sell you a little bit more, why wouldn't they? I would never not ask if they wanted dessert.
Well, yeah, but you're an entrepreneur, man. You're out there. You can add.
Well, I mean, I've heard restaurant
of
owners say that to their wait staff. Upsell,
yes, we do.
Try, the more that you make me, the more you make.
Well, I would, I would just be very concrete. So I had a pretty good wine program in the sense that I wasn't exotic. I mean, there's places here that, obviously it's California.
A little more exotic.
Yeah, a lot more. People are spending a lot of money for wine, but I tried to keep it really, well, again, you spend a nicer place, you spend more. So, a steak might cost $50 at my place. And so the wine between 50, 100, 150, maybe it topped out. But the wine that I was selling for, say the most popular range was maybe $60, $80 a bottle. They would, if they went somewhere else, they would be paying, instead of 60, 80, they'd be paying 90, 120, because other people were charging a lot more. And the quality wasn't as high as mine. Mine was really stinking high quality wine. And, I just look for deals, and I'd get the deal and I'd put it on my menu.
Yeah.
And I'd educate the staff to, hey, this is a phenomenal deal.
Yeah.
And, if you know wine, the people that knew wine recognize that,
Sure,
And
they're all in
so-
the restaurant industry.
Yeah, well, I mean, people that dine out a lot, that.
Yeah.
And,
I see. All right.
Yeah. And so, I would say to these guys, they're tipping you 20%. If you sell a $100 bottle of wine, that's $20. You're going to sell them a cocktail for $10, $12, or are you going to sell them that bottle? Because on that $10, you're going to make $2. On this bottle of wine, you're going to make $20.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah. So I was trying to be really graphic about it. You know? And that I think is very useful to people because we have phenomenal wine sales.
Sure.
But I also supported them by offering a great product at a value.
Right.
So I think the way to become really good at something is you have to punch all the, you got to do it all. You got to do those things, and then the last step is they got to be real knowledgeable about it, and of course they got to be nice people. Too.
Right.
And then you'll make a lot of money because you're giving people what they want.
Yeah.
And that's our job, right?
Yeah. I've always loved the restaurant industry, and I've always, would love to be a part of it, but it's just so overwhelming. I don't think I could do it. It's just too much going on. There's too many people, it's just too many working pieces that have to work together.
Well, you have to have a food cart. You might do well with a food cart, right? You just have one.
It's a juggling act.
You and maybe one other person. And,
exactly right.
And 5 or 6 things on the menu.
Right.
And that you could pull it off.
You got to be a psychiatrist. You got to be everything if you're going to run a restaurant, man.
If you have the bigger, But that's that's why it's engaging. That's why it's so fun.
Right.
Is because there's so much going on all the time.
Yeah. Right. No, that's really cool. Somebody that can do that, keep that many balls in the air. That's just amazing to me. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
It really is.
Well, that's what you're doing though. You have your balls are, different types of things. You're not really
things.
Focused. Yeah.
Sure.
In the same way, your interests are more diverse.
Yeah.
And it seems to work for you. I mean, you seem to be a super happy guy.
Just having fun.
Yeah.
Just goofing off.
Yeah. Well.
Chilling out in California, brah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Just having fun. I hope to start doing a little more scuba diving, but man, that water looks cold out there. So
there's people out there. There's people out there almost every day.
I was just out there at the.
Were you?
At the Breakwater Cove or Marina Boatyard over there this morning, taking care of a boat, and just out there walking along, and there's a bunch of different diving classes going on, actually giving lessons, and they're all floating around in the kelp forests. So it must be really neat. I've never.
I think I was thinking about it myself, and I don't know. I'm not going to do it now. Maybe when I come back, I'll do it. Because I think we were talking about the water before. And remember, you showed me the clip of those 2 girls that were way out at sea.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't feel quite comfortable here yet, but there's people swimming. I love to swim. I don't think there's any reason I can't be swimming here.
Right.
And scuba diving, why not?
As long as you're with somebody knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I would take a lesson, or if I had a buddy that had the stuff, I would do that. That would be fun. Yeah. So, and I'll be traveling. If all goes well, I'll be traveling to, tropical places where they have it.
Right.
As
you have to come back and tell us about your travels, man.
Right,
That's going to be Iceland and holy guacamole.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, everybody goes to Iceland now. It's not. It's like going to Marin.
I think somebody said that they named Iceland because it was what was it? It was Greenland and there was Iceland, and Greenland is completely ice and Iceland is green.
Right.
But they named it Iceland because they didn't want anybody else to go there. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I don't know either.
Yeah, it's like I guess Iceland is absolutely beautiful.
Well, I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah.
Maybe someday, I'll make it there, but probably not.
Well, yeah, if you don't want to go, you won't.
Yeah, right.
You have to want to go.
Yeah, exactly.
I would like to go hiking, all over the world.
Yeah.
just go for walks.
Sure.
So we'll see how it goes.
Just absorb the country.
Mm-hmm.
Get yourself a little castle with a moat.
Well, we all have that, don't we? If we want it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, man. What a killer time.
All right. Well, yeah. Thanks.
Love hearing your story, man.
I enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, awesome.
And wish you luck with this.
Thanks, brother. Safe travels.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. See you.
Thank you.